thought it only fitting to start where it all began some 41 years ago. This Marks and Spencer's, other supermarkets are available, used to be the Victoria Cinema. And way back in December of 1984, my dad took me and my younger brother Paul to see a film that changed everything. I'm not sure I can put into words what this film means to me. It changed everything. As a child, it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And that magic of cinema had never been so present. And it stayed with me right through my teens, through adulthood, through middle-agedness. It's always been my dream to get to New York and do a tour, do the film locations, stand in the same places that my four heroes did. And about 30 or so years ago, I did get over there, but didn't get to see any of the locations apart from managed to get outside the library. I do remember that. And so yes, it's been a lifelong goal to get there again. There's been so many false starts over the years. There's been times where I didn't have the money. There's been times where I did have the money and the Firehouse was covered in tarpaulin and scaffolding and it wouldn't have been worth going. But now, finally, the time has come. Exactly 1 week today, I will be boarding a plane and hopefully fulfilling this lifelong dream. So, with all that being said, let's leave this surprisingly noisy Easter Sunday morning here in Cambridge. Hope you join me on this impending Ghostbusters pilgrimage. But for now, let's slam cut straight to the airport. Bye-bye. Fists with your toes, that son of a bitch. Well, here we are, 14 and a half hours later, left the UK, 6 a.m. this morning, 7-hour flight. Customs took about 2 hours to get through, although he was surprisingly gentle with that rubber glove. Didn't mind that at all. Subway's been a nightmare, but finally got to Brooklyn, finally got to the hotel. The main tour starts tomorrow. This afternoon is all about rest and relaxation. We shall hit into it all properly tomorrow. This is it. This is definitely it. Here we are, the opening shot of the movie. The iconic patience and fortitude. And I've just checked and there's no possessor ghost there. The steps, the column, and inside, if I can get away with filming in there, the Rose reading room. Wish me luck. And this here is the pillar that Peter and Ray walked past just as they discussed their unexplained mass sponge migration. Had everything been okay in this messed up, mixed up, shook up world, this would have been the point in the film where we would have jumped over to Columbia University. There, I would have regaled you with word-perfect, non-cringe-worthy renditions of the whole call it fate, call it luck, call it karma conversation. All that being said, in the good old America of 2025, the university is currently in lockdown, so we've got no access to the building whatsoever. So, unfortunately, we're just going to have to slam cut straight to "We're never going to regret this, Ray." So we've got the New York Public Library just here, and then literally just straight over the road here, number 489 Fifth Avenue, is where the bank is. This building behind here is the same building when Peter, Ray and Egon are walking down this street and talking about how everybody gets 3 mortgages these days. Okay, we are at the Mecca. We are at the Firehouse. I think it's pretty much just round the corner from here. Moment my life has been building to, which is probably pretty sad really, but let's go. There's more fans there. Made it. Made it. Can't believe I'm finally here. This is insane. Ever since I was 10 years old, 41 years ago. That would make me 50. Let's forget about that. I'm here. The sign's here. I'm actually quite emotional.
Before I left.
There you go. Superb. There's a scene in the film Star Trek First Contact where Captain Picard and Data find Zephram Cochrane's, relax you on the meter, Zephram Cochrane's first ever warp ship. And there's a moment where Picard puts his hand on the warp ship, and there's a whole thing about embracing history and the tactility of the emotion that comes with actually putting your hand on the surface of something that you've kind of been in love with for so long. I'm rambling and making no sense whatsoever, but I'm actually here. I'm actually here. This is incredible. You don't think it's too subtle, Marty? And this is where the Ecto-1 first rolled up. Only 4,800. Just a bonus location, that spire there got struck by lightning in Frozen Empire. And in the film, after we got one, the Ecto-1 came straight out of those doors and come swinging straight down this street here. Wouldn't do it in today's traffic, but off to the Sedgwick Hotel, which is actually in LA, Biltmore, and their first ever successful bust. It's so early in the morning here, but it's so busy already. The amount of tourists here, the amount of people that are congregating in front of the fire station, it's just insane. And as soon as we got here earlier on, we met a couple from England that were right outside the station. It's just madness, absolute madness. I think that'll be it for now. It's not going to be the last time I come here before we get to the end of the week. Spook Central. It's not the girl, Peter, it's the building. So here we are at 55 Central Park West. In the film it was changed to 550 Central Park West. And this building here is where Dana and Lewis became Zool and Vince. But this is where it all begins and ends. With a little bit of being chased across the road by a terror dog in between. This is where we see Lewis running across and then jumping over this wall. Yeah, not doing that. So, after catching Slime in the Sedgwick Hotel, which was actually filmed in the Biltmore Hotel in LA, so we're not getting there today, we then jump to a much loved Montage. Well, everybody has heard ghost stories around the campfire. Heck, my grandma used to spin yarns about a spectral locomotive that used to rocket past the farmhouse where she grew up. But now, as if some unforeseen authority next shot in the montage is right here outside number 68 and 70 Mott Street. This is where they get handed some Peking duck, and they're pretty much standing next to this rail here, and then we've got that extra framework in the background, so we can know for certain this is exactly where they were standing when they were handed the Peking duck.
And it don't look good. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
Literally about 1 block away from the Undead taxi cab scene, we have another montage scene with Ray running up this stairwell behind me with a smoking trap in his hand. Always a bit nervous because this is likely someone's home, so I don't want to freak them out by running up the stairs, so I'm going to just leave it here.
If you're seeing things running through your head, who can you call? Ghostbusters! An invisible man sleeping in your bed. Oh, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
Another part of the Ghost Fever montage is on this strip in Little Italy. We have Egon coming out of this building with a smoking trap in his hand. Also, Ghostbusters producer Joe Medchuck cameos as a passerby. You'll see him in the background in a brown leather jacket. Then another good example about how economical they've been with their filming locations. From this scene here with the Peking duck, they literally turn the camera round down to this street, and this part of the street here between 56 and 64 Mott Street is where they filmed that iconic shot of the Ghostbusters running down the street in all their gear. And this shot with the 3 guys jogging down this street here was actually the first thing they ever filmed for the movie. And Ivan Reitman has said pretty much in every interview he's ever done for Ghostbusters that this was the moment when he saw those 3 guys jogging in their jumpsuits that he knew he had a hit on his hands. And it's actually not lost to me either that we have these big montages showing how successful they are at catching ghosts. And we don't actually see any ghosts at all. It's always the aftermath. They're either running into a building or they're running out of a building with a smoking trap in their hand and the job's already done. So very clever for saving money on any ghostly special effects. At least until the end of the montage where, let's face it, it was all about Ray's end. After Dana, and if rumours are true, baby Oscar's dad leave the Avery Fisher Hall, which is now the David Geffen Hall, here at the Lincoln Centre Plaza. She's approached by Peter to discuss her case and score a date. He'll bring the Royal Ants Guide and they'll eat and read. Looking back as a kid, the whole scene with the Royal Ants Guide went straight over my head, and it was only years later that I decided to look up what the Royal Ants Guide actually was. Only to find it was a book about secret sects and societies, but only ones that worship supernatural entities. So I'm guessing that's one that was definitely put in there by Dan Aykroyd. Well, I'll see you at the next location. I'm glad you're feeling much better. You're still looking very pale though. So Lewis, still running from the Terror Dog, runs into Central Park, running south on the bridle path here. And in desperation, he runs across to Tavern on the Green. So behind me is Tavern on the Green. It's not open to the public yet, but the back gate was open and the manager was there, and I just quickly asked her if I could pop in and just film the back windows, and got a very quick no. So friendly person.
Could it have the friendliest manager in the world? No, it couldn't.
Once possessed by the Terror Dog, he stumbles out. Once possessed by the Terror Dog, he stumbles out. Once possessed by the Terror Dog, he stumbles out of Central Park onto Columbus Circle, going past the USS Main Monument, engaging with a horse-drawn carriage before running off onto 1802 Broadway. Once those huge beams of spectral energy go shooting over the top of the city, no one keeps an eye on Lewis, who goes wandering off down this street. Keeping true to the real life locations here, this street is literally around the corner from the Firehouse. Top of the rock, and as we look south from the roof of the Rockefeller Observatory, this is where all those streams of ghostly energy soar through the sky through Midtown Manhattan.
Please, let's make some. I believe it's magic. I believe it's magic. I believe it's magic.
During the interdimensional cross rip, we see the subway ghost appear here at the BMT City Hall subway station. This is pretty much right next to the City Hall and about a block or so away from the corner of Broadway and Chambers Street, which is where they did the scene with the reporter with the bum behind him. Bum is in homeless person, not somebody's bum. Okay, it's about here on Madison Avenue where the undead taxi driver was. I think it's about just this area here. If you use the buildings in the background again as a guide, and we've got the coffee shop back here, I think this is pretty much the spot where he gets in. And he tells you not to dawdle. The taxi driver doesn't dawdle. taxi then skids off, takes that sharp U-turn, races up the street, then banks left while all the other cars swerve to avoid them. And then I think I found the spot, or pretty much the spot, where the car smashes into the trees and the bins just here. So there we go, Undead Taxi Driver. Slimer and the hot dog vendor was pretty much filmed right here outside the McGraw-Hill building. When they were filming it, they did have a red sign here saying Rockefeller Centre. But if you do look in the background of that scene, you will see these windows just here. So we can say with pretty much certainty that this is where Slimer ate all the hot dogs.
I believe it's magic. I believe it's magic. I believe it's magic. Magic. I believe it's magic.
City Hall. This is where they meet Mayor Lenny. Walter Peck, unfortunately for actor William Atherton, is forever known from this point onwards as Dickless, and the guys convince everyone that they are the city's only hope and they can save the lives of millions of registered voters. They then pull out into traffic and head north onto Centre Street, heading towards Foley Square, and this now gives me an excuse to play this song. All copyright be damned. In all seriousness though, no copyright infringement intended. All rights and monies to the respective owners. Nobody steps on a church in my town. Well, somebody did, and that somebody was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And before he did, this church was surrounded by a crowd of spectators cheering, chanting, and selling t-shirts. So over here behind me is where one of the guys, Ray, chooses the form of their destructor, aka a 100-foot Marshmallow Man. We see him slowly stomping through between these two buildings. Also, that tall brown building there, if you're a fan of Superman, the original 1978 Superman, that's 240 Central Park South, and that's where Lois Lane's apartment was. Bonus film locations. Okay, so that's Ghostbusters 1 over with. So let's go to Ghostbusters 2, which was one. They're back, and this time the slime is flowing. This is where 5 years later, the opening of Ghostbusters 2 was filmed. Of course, in typical New York fashion, you fly thousands of miles to see something, and it's covered in f***ing scaffolding. And this street full of angry, uncaring people is where the scene is set for the next 105 minutes of supernatural fun. We're here outside what was Dana's new apartment building, and this very spot, I think... There. No, you're fine. Sorry, thank you. Is where Dana and her building superintendent, thank you, you didn't have to, it's fine, thank you, is where Dana and her building superintendent are talking, while baby Oscar's slime-powered pram goes on a journey of its own. From this point, the carriage shoots down south to the intersection of East 77th Street and 1st Avenue. And this intersection here, just where they're crossing, is where Oscar's Pram goes racing across. The whole baby carriage chase is geographically correct, starting at Dana's building in East 77th Street and ending in the middle of 1st Avenue. Oh, I thought it was going to be He-Man. This is the children's party house from the beginning of Ghostbusters 2. We get Ray and Winston have that conversation, lots of exposition, but in one conversation we find out exactly what's been happening in the last 5 years. The X-01 would have been parked just here. Here we go, this is the place where it all went down. Janosch, Dana, Oscar, Viggo the Butch, and a whole lot of pink slime. Within the last year I've seen photographs of the front of the building and I thought there might be some construction taking place. There is some construction taking place. Half of the front of the building is completely obscured by this huge green partition. So I'm a bit gutted that I'm going to miss being able to get the shots that I want. But look at this, look at these light stands. Remember these? The slime coming down on top before it enveloped the whole building, these huge doors. It's an amazing place to be. I feel very lucky that I got here so early. It's not even open yet. There's no traffic coming through. This is my museum stay. This is pretty much the shop where the Ghostbusters first drive up in the Ecto-1. They park up outside the front of the museum before going in and offering to help Viggo with his Carpathian kitten loss. The car would have pulled up just about here, but 36 years ago, that elevator to the subway station wasn't there. Looking for the drain cover. If you remember the scene, Ray, Egon and Winston climbed out of the drain covered in slime and started having fisticuffs with their pyjamas on. But I think all of the construction has covered that up as well. In fact, is it under here? Oh no, look, it's there. There, covered up by the partition. But that's the edge of the manhole, and this looks like it's going to be the closest I'm going to get to it, at least on this trip anyway. Where the internal shots for the museum, I believe, were shot on a soundstage, I do think the reception area where Venkman meets his #1 Bassmasters fan were actually shot in this building. This road here is where the X-01A drove through and they all stepped out ready for their final confrontation with Viggo. And yes, there's always room for Jello. Raise Occult, 7 p.m. on weekdays, midnight on Saturdays. This building is 33 St Mark's Place. It looks a lot different to what it did back in 1989. A stairwell didn't exist, for example, back then. In the film, a little fact you didn't really need to know, in the film, the address was actually 201 St Mark's Place. I know that because it says it on the Movie Pot business card. Oh, now we've hit the honey pot. Come on, we're scientists. Come on, get out of the way. Relax, you're on the meter. That was awful, but I'm just going to stick with it. Never mind. The Thurgood Marshall US Courthouse, the setting of my favourite scene in the entire franchise. The Ghostbusters in court and, of course, the Scoleri brothers.
2 in the box.
Ready to go.
We be fast.
They be slow.
Now a Mexican grill, this was a Record Explosion video store some 36 or so years ago. And in the second film, we saw the guys running out of here, traps in hand, wearing Christmas hats. Which is why I'm standing here looking like even more a twat wearing this in the middle of spring.
Point of note, this building is literally around the corner from the museum.
That gold bump in the night. It walks through the wall with no time to stall. You call the Ghostbusters. Well, that's who you call Ghostbusters.
As part of the We're Back montage, Ray and Egon were on these very steps collecting some slime. And then, adjacent to this location, pretty much around the corner, is where they filmed another quick shot of the guys pouring some slime into a jar in front of a payphone. However, the phone is no longer here. That being said, if I line up the camera correctly, the buildings in the background can pinpoint where they were. And they seem to pretty much look the same. This is a busy street. I'm a jogger ghost. This jogging path alongside the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Reservoir here in Central Park forms another part of the We're Back montage and also features again one of my favourite ghosts. The fencing is different to what it was in 1989. Divers actually found a piece of the old fence in the river from 1926. So the fence has been replaced so it looks like it did back then. It's also got another line of fencing along here now that cuts off the jogging path from the rest of the park, so there's no benches here anymore. So where Peter sat and casually stamped and opened the trap, can't do the same. Not that I've got a trap. Or a bench. Or a ghost.
With no one around, did not understand a hand coming out the ground. I knew it wasn't mine, it was somebody else. But I didn't care, G. I just screamed for help. Then Ghostbusters! And trapped to the back, screaming Ghostbusters! Ghostbusters attack! We are the friendly neighborhood Ghostbusters. That's what they said to me. Be all the busters of any G-H-O-S-T. Ghostbusters! Haunting, yelling, screaming, ghostly ghosts, ghouling demons, monsters, spook, werewolves, and devils, all those things.
On the corner of Broadway and Bleecker is Venkman's place, the street actually outside at 644 Broadway. Poor little Oscar, snatched from the ledge up there by a ghostly Janosch Poppins. And just behind me is the main door where Peter and Dana decided not to go down into the sewers and look for slime stuff, even though there was a tremendous upsurge in cockroach breeding, and decided to go to what was hopefully going to be a nice, quiet dinner together. Well, we all know how that worked out. This is the section of street right next to the fire station where, when Janine was finishing her work for the day, Lewis nervously asked her out for a date, just before nearly getting run over. Okay, I'm back in Times Square, except I'm not actually in Times Square. I'm at home trying to edit this video and realising that none of my microphones worked whatsoever. So this is a voiceover just to tell you that this is where the Flip City ghost came out of the movie theatre. The movie theatre is no longer here, but if you line up the buildings in the background, this is pretty much where it was. The address is 1567 Broadway in Times Square. Looking up and down, couldn't find 1567, but we think this is pretty much where it was. So rather than listen to me anymore, listen to Glenn Frey's Flip City and enjoy. This is where in the Flip City montage of Ghostbusters 2 we had that giant, man, every time. This is where in the Flip City montage in Ghostbusters 2 we had that giant spectral monster come through that archway there. And if I remember correctly, this was also featured in Frozen Empire. We had Garaka's frozen path. Shaw went through that, froze the fountain on his way to the Firehouse. Just to give the place a little bit more nuance, in the 1700s this was actually a cemetery and they even did public hangings here. The cemetery was closed in 1825, but to this day the remains of more than 20,000 bodies rest under the ground here. Excavations have found tombstones in this park dating back to 1799. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? On this corner here is where the police car was parked, the one that was trodden on and crushed by the Statue of Liberty. And of course, it's all under construction. The Statue of Liberty's journey towards the museum is a little bit of a weird one when you think about it. The logistics are all wrong. Even just to walk down this street here, she comes around that corner right down there, and then all of a sudden she's here in front of Trump Tower. And then all of a sudden when she steps on the police car, she's on that corner over there again. But the weirdest thing is, if you look at a map and where the Statue of Liberty is, she's pretty much just across the water from where the museum is. She could just cross the water and be there straight away, but instead she looks like to go up the Hudson or the East River and then back in on herself and down here again. So maybe leaving Ray in charge of the navigation with that Nintendo controller probably wasn't the best idea. That being said, it all worked out for the best in the end because they got there at the correct time. If they got there 20 minutes earlier,
the crowd wouldn't have been singing Auld Lang Syne at that perfect moment, weakening the slime and then them being able to defeat Vigo at that exact correct moment. So it all worked out for the best in the end. Chances are, if they had got there early, then we'd all be living under Lord Oscar's rule now. However, if you look at America these days, maybe that would have been a good thing. A little bit of politics there.
Stay fit, keep sharp, make good decisions. I wonder when the next bus is due. Well, this is the end of my trip. I thought I'd come back here just one more time. I'm going to have to do this quickly, I think, before the 20th sanitation lorry drives past and ruins the take again. You have no idea how long I've been here. It's been a journey. It's been an exhausting journey, a surreal journey, an amazing journey, and just all these places that I've seen on film that my heroes have trodden footsteps in. I've now managed to do the same. I have no idea what this video has come out like yet. I know that I've got some 450 to 500 different video clips, so many outtakes, so many having to stop because of something happening, and I don't know. But I said before, I haven't been to New York since I was 20 years old with my fake ID in hand so I could have a drink. And coming back here now at the age of 51 and seeing how much everything has changed, it's just been insane. It's been mind-blowing and overwhelming. And I have to say though, the city, apart from the manager of Tavern On The Green, the city has been so kind, friendly, welcoming, and the people here just have seemed to be lovely, and it's just been a real experience. And I can't even just standing here now, I can't believe I'm in front of the Firehouse again. It's just something else. I'll be back here again in 4 weeks. 4 weeks tomorrow, I think, June the 4th, coming back, ready for Ghostbusters Day on Saturday, June the 7th. It's strange, I didn't think I was going to get like this. It's been a pilgrimage for me, it's been a journey. And I just, I can't believe I'm here. Can't believe I'm here where my heroes have been so many times before. And so many thousands of other Ghostbusters fans have been here before. It's
It's been an amazing time. I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, before I get too silly. I'm going to leave it there. This has been incredible. I'm exhausted. The blisters on my feet have blisters. But I wouldn't change anything. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed this trip. Like I said, I have no idea what this video is going to look like, whether any of it's going to work at all. But I guess you'll let me know in the comments if anyone watches it anyway. I can't stop looking at it. I'm not being very camera friendly, am I? I'm meant to be. You're my focus. I'm going. I love this town. See you soon. Bye-bye.
When you say I miss the things you do, I just want to get back close again to you. But for now, your voice is near enough. How I miss you and I miss your love. And oh, all the days that pass me by so slow. All the emptiness inside me flows all around, and there's no way out. I'm just thinking so much of you. There was never any doubt. I can wait forever. If you say you'll be there too, I can wait forever if you will. I know it's worth it all to spend my life alone with you. When it looked as though my life was wrong, you took my love and gave it somewhere to belong. I'll be here when hope is out of sight. I just wish that I was next to you tonight. And oh, I'll be reaching for you even though you'll be somewhere else. My love will go like a bird on its way back home. I could never let you go, and I just want you to know I can wait forever. If you say you'll be there too, I can wait forever if you will. I know it's worth it all to spend my life alone with you.
What are we doing?
Expecto locomotive.